Hello, my lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind. And today I would like to give you my thoughts on the new Netflix movie, The Platform. Now, this review is going to start off non-spoiler, and at some point I'm going to give you a few more details because there's loads I want to get into with this movie, but I will give you a very clear cut-off point when that is. So stick with me, and then if you've not seen the movie, I will tell you when you need to step out. Okay? So The Platform is a Spanish film directed by Galder Getsulu Urrutia and stars Ivan Massagué as Goring, who works in a sparsely decorated cell opposite another man named Trumagasi, played by Zorian Aguilio. Now, the cell has a hole in the ceiling, big rectangular hole in the ceiling, big rectangular hole in the floor, very little else in the cell. So it's just his bed, Trumagasi's bed, and there's a sink and a toilet, and that is it. Okay? So, as they get talking, Trumagasi explains the rules to him. So, the rules of this place is they are now what's called the Hole. Now, some people, it's a prison, they were sent there to serve a sentence. Other people have volunteered to go there in order for an exchange for a diploma or something to kind of better themselves. The rules are, when you enter, you can take in one item. It can be anything. So Goring takes in a book, Trumagasi has taken in a knife, and a lot of people, as you discover through the film, have taken in various other items. Okay, you're on a floor which has a number. The number is the number of floors you are from the top. At the very top, there is a kitchen which prepares amazing food. Just the most beautifully prepared food. And it all gets piled onto a platform. And the platform, once a day, will drop down between each floor. It will stop briefly at a floor for the people on that floor to eat. And then it will drop down further and further forward. So once a day this will happen. And obviously the further down you are, the less food there is to get to. Now, we don't know initially how many floors there is, but when you look down through the hole, you can see it goes on further than you can see. So the people at the bottom are probably not getting very much food at all. You will stay on your assigned floor for 1 month, at which point you will be knocked out by gas and you'll wake up on another randomly assigned floor. So obviously the higher up you are, the better off you are, because the more chance you are of getting fed. So that sets up the movie, that sets up where we are. So director Galder Getsulu Urrutia, I do apologise for the names, is a Spanish film. Its subtitles do not let that put you off, because it is a really good movie. He's previously directed a couple of short films. He's had loads of producer credits. For what I can tell, this is his first feature film. The movie is shot beautifully. It's shot really well. It's in very confined industrial kind of grey wall cells, so there's very little kind of nuance in regards to colour. It's very stark. But right, we're not going to go any further now, because I need to give you a few, in order to continue on with it, I'll need to give you some spoilers. So before we go, I will say I do recommend this movie. It's got some very important, relevant messages to what's going on. There is a lot of violence in the film, quite graphic violence, so if you're uncomfortable with that, but I would advise you go in cold. If you want to go and see the film, do not look at trailers, do not look at marketing, just go, click on it, watch it. And it's got a lot to say, and I really enjoyed it. So from this point on, I'm going to give away a few more plot details, okay? So that's fair warning. From this point on, I'm giving you plot. All right, so here we go. So all we know is that there's an organisation called the Administration who runs this facility, runs the Hole. It feels very much like an experiment they've set up, a social experiment, if you will. Now, what Trumagasi says to Goring is that we don't talk to the people above, and we don't talk to people below. We focus on our floor and getting fed. If you try and hoard food, if you try and pull something off the platform, the cell will either get incredibly hot or incredibly cold, to a point where you freeze to death or you boil. So you cannot store stuff. So you've got the time the platform is in your cell to eat. And Goring himself is like, well, is there enough food for everybody? And he's basically like, Trumagasi is essentially, yes, there would be enough food for everybody if everybody took their fill, but not everybody does, because people take what they want, they gorge. If they have previously run a very low floor, so for a month they have pretty much starved, and then they get a more favourable floor, they will overeat, they will overconsume. And the whole movie is an allegory for privilege, those above and those below, and how you don't mix, and how the people above will never come down. You don't want to go down, because everything, the lower you get, the worse it gets. And when you get down to certain floors where there is no food whatsoever, because they figure out that there is, I'm going to spoil stuff, but I'm not going to give you too much again. As these floors go down, you get well past floor 100, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. And there is a bottom, but you don't know where that is. So there is a good chance you're not eating. And you're not eating for a full month. If you wake up on your bed and you're on floor, I don't know, 80 or 90, chances are by the time this platform comes to you, it's just a mess. It is just empty plates and broken glasses, not a scrap of food on it. So after a couple of weeks, maybe your cellmate starts to look a bit tasty. Maybe they knew ahead of time. So whereas you might have brought in a photograph of your favourite, of your partner, or a book to read, because that's your one item, they might have brought in a gun, might have brought in a knife, might have brought in a baseball bat, and this is what you have to deal with. So the story is how Goring wants to change this, and how can you affect change? How can you get everybody to work together and understand that if everybody just eats what they need, everybody gets fed? How do you get the people above you how do you convince them not to eat everything so the people below can eat? But there's this vicious cycle, because there's people who've been on the bottom floors who starved, and now they're at the top floors and they're like, nobody cared when I was down here, so why should I care now that I'm up there? Why should I care about the people below me when the people above never cared about me when I was down there? Now that I'm above them, why should I give a damn about them? And there's all these messages that run through the movie. Now at some point, the platform comes down into their cell, and there's a person on it. There's a female character called Miharu, and she is convinced that her daughter is somewhere in this facility. She's convinced that she's in there, and she's looking for her. So we are informed that whenever she wakes up in a cell, the first thing she does is kill a cellmate, butcher them, and then she starts heading down once a month on the platform, searching every floor to try and find her daughter. We're told that she came in by herself. There was nobody with her. She's just gone mad being in here. And yes, so the movie progresses about how do we affect change? How does this whole, how do all these floors learn to work together so everybody gets fed? And Goring is kind of, that becomes his mission, to make sure everybody is fed, because everybody can be fed if everyone plays fair, but he finds it incredibly difficult to actually affect this change. And as the movie progresses, it's about sending a message. They need to send a message to those above that they have learnt their lesson, kind of thing. And the message starts off as one thing and it becomes another thing. And again, there is this there is just the hierarchy. Everything about it just mirrors kind of humanity in its worst way. It's that, those above don't give a damn about those below. And not so much that they will even punish those further below. So there is those in higher floors who eat their fill and then ruin the food and then, pee on it and defecate on it and send it down just because people are beneath them. Because when they were at the bottom, that's what people did to them, and it's this horrible cycle. So it's how do you break out of that? And they find a method they believe will actually do it, and they enact it, and they get down to a certain floor, and there's a realization of, do I want to tell you this or not? I kind of want to talk about it, but I kind of don't want to spoil it. I'm giving you something, but I don't want to give you everything. Yes, they discover something, which that becomes their message. That becomes their message to the hierarchies that, right, we've established it. We've found an order. We've found balance in this whole, and they send this message up. And this message obviously should never have been found, because it lies at the very bottom of the hole where nobody wants to be, because everybody wants to go up. Nobody wants to go down. There is no reason to go down, because going down is worse. Even if you're going down to help other people, your life will get measurably worse because you are going to starve. The further down you go, the less you get to eat. So when they get to the very bottom, where they find this, I'll just call it an item, the very fact that it was found and sent up on the platform shows that somebody cared enough to travel down to the other floors, because we get to a point where, like I say, people are just eating each other and we just see the aftermath, and this platform will not stop at a floor where there's no living people. And as it gets further down past, into double and treble figure floors, it just keeps moving, and the camera will just show you an aftermath of what's gone on in that cell, how desperate people have gotten. But that's all I want to say on it. The movie, if this is its first feature, bravo, because I loved it. It's not for everybody. It's stark. It's got subtitles. Please do not let you put it off. If you let subtitles put you off, you're missing out on some amazing cinema. So please watch it. Give it a chance. It is dark. It's got darkly comic elements. It's got so many kind of messages about life in general. Some are quite on the nose, but some are quite subtle. Do give it a chance. I really enjoyed it. I think it's only like 90 minutes. It zips by. It's a very unique premise. I've never seen anything like it. But yeah, for me, well worth a watch. Well worth a watch. Give it your time. If it's on Netflix and you've got an account, it's costing you nothing. So please go and enjoy it, because it just took me by surprise and I really enjoyed it. And I really think it's worth a watch. So, as always, guys, like what you like, love what you love. These were just my thoughts, and they're not necessarily important. They're not necessarily right or wrong, but that's what's so beautiful about the movies. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and yeah, bye for now.